I've never messed around with anything habitat wise, and I'll be honest, just, up until recently, just, acquiring that little piece of ground, I haven't had any like real interest to do that because all of my situations in Michigan, like none of those situations provided an opportunity like that to do anything. So I've never showed much interest in it. So when the opportunity kind of just not fell in my lap, but when that farmer was like, hey, I think I'm going to cut my losses on farming this 2.5 acre section right here, have at it. It was like, okay, what can I do, and what can I do with very little work, and what's going to last a long time? Because I also didn't want to dump a bunch of money into it with never really, messed around with anything like that.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast, the podcast for wildlife habitat management, hunting strategy, and land stewardship. And now, your host, Jared Van Hees.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast.
Jared here from the Habitat Podcast. We have a brand new episode for you guys here today. We have my good friend, Mr. David Riley, on a brand new piece of land he purchased, 20 acres here in Michigan. He even talks about doing his first food plot ever. Great podcast talking about getting kids into the woods, turning a property to its best potential, and awesome Michigan deer hunting coming up here soon. Guys, be sure to check out our Habitat Day, August 9th in Howell, Michigan. More on our Habitat Podcast Facebook group. Thanks.
All right, we are back. We have Habitat Podcast special today. I am the co-host Andrew Hutchens. Today we've got David Riley on. David, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, buddy. Hey, quick question for you. What do you like to actually go by? What are your buddies, your real close buddies call you? Hutchie, Andrew, Andy, what do they go by?
Andy, Hutchie, words we can't say online, stuff like that. Andy, most people call me Andy though.
Okay.
Andy or Hutchie. It just kind of depends on who you are and what you do. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to
I'll
know.
come to whatever, just as long as you call me for dinner, I'll be there. I'm good.
I like that. I like that. No, all is good over here, man. It's I'm not too sure when this podcast will drop, but we're kind of, well, today, it is right. We're right in the middle of July right now, so it's kind of the dog days of summer, what some people call it. I actually love this time of year. I love glassing, velvet whitetails. I love to, scout maybe when other people don't like to be scouting. But the one thing I will say, and for anyone in Michigan, it seems to be like the grass has stayed really green this summer. We keep getting the right amount of rain when we're supposed to, and the humidity's been it's been high because the temperature's been right, the humidity's right. That when I look at a lot of the locals farmers' fields, like the corn is like they say, you can hear it growing out there right now.
Dude, it's wild, man. I've never seen, which is great for us habitat managers, but I've never seen my food plots look so good. I've never seen the corn, I'm in northern Michigan, so, we're really not in corn growing area, but, it's waist high already, and we're in the middle of July. Normally it's not this high here in northern Michigan. So I think it's been a good thing, or absolutely a great thing, honestly. So
yeah,
let's hope we keep it up. But what always scares me about getting this kind of rain till now is what happens in August. It just dries right up. And that's when, most food plots, most guys are putting their food plots in. So we'll see. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Yes.
Let me ask you this real quick, Andy. What camp do you fall in? Do you believe that good precipitation summers produce good antler growth, or do you believe that the sometimes the years that we're in more of a drought, those produce better antler growth? Do you fall in one camp or the other?
I fall in the good rain amount when they can get all the good nutrient take up and all that. I really do. I wouldn't say that it's, I wouldn't say like 100% that way, but I definitely feel more towards when you have the right nutrients in the plants that the deer can take up, they're going to, put those into their antlers. And I am by far no biologist in anything. So, but yeah, no, I do agree. How do you feel on that?
Dude, I actually don't choose a side of the camp
Okay.
because I have a personality that like I can always see the flip side of things, like, and I think that it portrays a lot with like my style of whitetail hunting. Like I can go in an area scouting and tell you why it's good, but then I can also tell you why things could go wrong for us in that exact same spot. And sometimes I feel like that maybe benefits me quite a bit. But for the long time, I would have probably believed that the better rain precipitation years produce a better antler growth, this and that. But then like I've kind of followed along with some guys that do a lot of like Boone and Crockett scoring out in the Midwest, and if you follow along with like their numbers and their stories, I've seen them write articles or write ups about how on very drought years those seem to produce more Boone and Crockett entries and above average precipitation years where it's like that is so interesting to me, because if I understand right, their thought on those drought years is that what plants are holding good nutritions, like it's holding a ton of them, right? So they're kind of more concentrated in getting like eating the best that's out there, not just like at random. But I also could see where I'm like, well, if the fields are growing good, you think the antlers would be growing good too. So I see both sides of the coin. So I kind of just stay in the middle and like to watch both sides.
I'll tell you what, I really like that. I really like that thought process on the, all that nutrient being, that like a super nutrient almost in that
Hmm.
plant. So where if they're eating just they eat just a little bit of that, it's, let's say it'd be like eating, and I'm just throwing numbers out there, like a quarter acre of a food plot or something,
Hmm.
if they're eating a little 10 by 10 area. So that's something I'm going to dig into. I'm curious about that now, because I would have completely went the other way, or I did go completely the other way. So, all
Yeah,
right.
I'll send you some stuff on it that
Okay.
there's one particular guy that I seem to follow, and it's always very interesting to me when because it always gets brought up because people always want to kind of poke the bear about the subject, and I'm always reading and I always read the comments to see what how people chime in. But when you're looking at that's just record book numbers, only people that are entering those animals in there, but I think there's probably a lot more to it also. Like what did the year before look like, compared to this year also, where there's a lot of, it's a probably very situational type question, but I find it very interesting that I think most guys tend to lean on the side that you're on, Andy.
Okay. I mean, it kind of just, it was easy. It kind of makes sense, more
Hmm.
rain, better
Yep.
growth, better growth. So anyway, the whole reason I wanted to get you on the Habitat podcast is you have dove into being a habitat manager. Well, you
Yeah, a
planted
little
your
bit.
first food plot. Yeah, that's all that it's like a drug. I'm just going to tell you that it's like a
Okay.
drug. You just take a little bit and you go more and more. But let's talk about that. Just give me a little bit of background of what you got going right now.
Yeah, so I've been hunting since basically like 1995. So we're knocking on almost 30 years of hunting, and I've never been one to do any type of habitat work. Plant a food plot, cut down trees, mow lanes, mow shooting lanes, nothing like that. That's never really been my MO. And to be honest, like it's very small sample size of even what it is today. And about a year or so ago, or actually a couple of years ago, I'll tell you how it all kind of came about. That my wife and I actually purchased a small piece of property, and the thought of purchasing this property was for nothing to benefit myself, honestly. Like even we've had it for shoot handful of years now, and I've yet to personally actually hunt the property myself. Is I wanted something for that no matter what happened to land, maybe if we lost public land, maybe all the land around, this particular area got developed. I wanted a piece that, my kids, if they ever wanted to hunt, they could hunt. My grandkids, if they ever wanted a spot to hunt, they could hunt. And even though it's a small piece, it was just always a piece that maybe, maybe, just maybe, that could hold a deer or deer could be killed on there. So when I bought this piece, I knew I wanted my kids to be able to hunt out there, and I also knew I wanted my grandfather to be able to hunt out there. Now, it's a smaller type piece, but it does have a lot of row crop on it, and it's been farmed for years. It's been leased out for years. I kind of took over that lease agreement with the farmer, but there was one section of it that it just was like the amount of wildlife out there was kind of really hard on the corn and bean rotation that was occurring out there. And the farmer came to me and he said, "Hey, I don't know if you're at all interested in planting a food plot or not, but he's like, I don't think I want to farm this. It's about 2.5 acres of what it is. I don't think I want to farm this anymore. So if you want to plant a food plot, have at it." And I said, "Man, I don't really know it. That's not really my game. Like I've never even looked into food plot seed. I've never, how much is it going to cost? My hunting is basically, just mobile hunting, scouting, just killing the deer where they are, not really where they're gonna be, say on a food source." But I thought it was when he approached me with the opportunity to do that. I thought, maybe I'll do that because maybe that would be something good for my daughters to be able to hunt over, have some nice hunts. Something, my grandfather, he's in his early 80s. It'd be something great for him to hunt over, be able to just see deer, take people out there, see deer. And so I told the farmer, I said, "You know what, let's do it. But I was wondering if you could do me a favor along the way." And he said, "Yeah, what's that?" I said, "When you come to work up all the other acreage there, will you go ahead and work that up for me too? And then just let me know when you do, and I'll come in there and basically I'll have to do is you know spread the seed and call it the packet per se, pack it down." And so that's what I did back in, that was May of 2024. So last year. So it's just been just over a year. And, that first year it came up, I never had to mow it. It just, all it was, Andy, is it's just a clover and chicory blend type of food plot. Um, I will say that when my wife and I, we went out there and planted it, and she had a good time doing it. We took the side by side out there, and the spreader, and then the big roller, and did the whole thing. And then we were a little bit antsy afterwards. It seemed like we would make the trip over there and stop in and check it every week, and be like, "Damn, I don't know, like it's growing, but it doesn't seem to be growing really fast." And it was almost like the more time we spent away from the property, the faster it seemed to grow, or it's like you're not paying attention to it. But by the fall of 2024 last year, come September, like say during the youth hunt, it was a full blown clover and chicory field. Like it was, probably 4 to 6 inches tall, all 2.5 acres. I was very blessed to have the farmer be able to work that up because that helped tremendously, especially for someone so new to, say, a food plot like myself.
Okay. How big is the whole farm itself that you got, or the whole piece of property?
It's right around 20 acres.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Is it a lot of ag then around that, or is it all row crop, or how does the farm? I guess how does it lay out?
Yeah, so it's quite a bit of ag in that type of country. In that where that piece of property is, there's a lot of ag. A pretty straightforward corn and bean rotation, with once in a while, the alfalfa will get put in, and if that gets put in, that'll be like that for years. It's kind of that food plot itself and that property. It's like it's a good mixture of a lot of what I hunt already in Michigan, row crop, or it meets swamp. More swamp than actually hardwoods is what it truly is.
Okay. Okay. Is there a lot of invasives in there, like autumn olive and stuff like that, and your in the woods part of it?
No, in the woods there's a lot of like briars and
Oh,
things like that in the
nice.
woods, but in the swamps itself, it's just a lot of cattail swamps. I mean, things that there it's gonna hold water year round, so it's a lot of the things I'm already attracted to, like the islands and a lot of that swamp grass. You'll see some of like the whatever, like the different species of like I don't want to say like skunk cabbage, but there's some different things that grow inside that swamp that they'll eat too. But the nice thing is, for like my daughters and my grandfather to be hunting this style of food plot, is that it's close to a really good bedding area, so that those deer, when I watch, like when I hunt with my daughter and I watch them, like they treat that food plot, I think, a lot like any other probably, destination food source. Cause to me, like I think 2.5 acres is pretty decent size for a food plot. Like I know like
Hmm.
there's guys with a lot bigger, but I also see guys do like a small like quarter acre and even smaller than that, like a kill plot. But the cool thing is it's really secluded, right? Like it can't be seen from the outside. So I believe they feel pretty safe out there, even though it's a 2.5 acre plot. But they still treat it like, when I watch those deer, they hit that buffer zone right on the edge of it. They do just like all the other, say mature bucks do when I see exit a swamp, is they'll stand on that buffer edge, where they believe that safety is, and they'll take in all their senses. They're gonna, their ears are going back and forth, their nose is going up and down, and when they kind of commit to making those first couple steps into the food plot, like there's no hesitation. Once they commit, it seems like they're going out there. But I will say this, watching it last year and hunting it with my daughter and listening to my grandfather talk about it, it's 2.5 acres. And I hear them talk, or like my grandfather will say it a lot, and I watched it with my daughter. Those deer are like, they kind of know to head to the middle of that, where you would think like it'd be really attractive to be on the edge, and I'm, they travel that edge, but it's like I think there's something to it that they understand to get out into that middle of that food plot, like it's a little bit safer for them out there.
Okay. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
How are you guys hunting it? Is it like, do you have a box blind or tent? What are you guys doing out there?
Yeah, so we got a blind out there. That's the easiest thing for my grandpa to be able to hunt out of. Nice homemade, like treated wood style blind, just up off the ground, and that's still what my daughter uses too. She's itching to get up in a tree stand or a saddle, but she's almost pulling enough bull weight. By the end of this year, I think she'll be there. So not the fall of 25, but I believe the fall of 26, she'll be ready to bow hunt. She's kind of like, she's really wanting to get away from the crossbow, and not that there's anything wrong with the crossbow. She's just itching to be able to kind of get out there and hunt a little bit more, say the style how I naturally hunt. So, she's only, she's 12 or getting ready to turn 13, and she's just a little thing still. And for her to be able to like handle a crossbow up in a tree stand and stuff, it just doesn't work great, right? Like, let alone like getting a kid, within archery range of a whitetail already. That's a task itself. So we naturally do a lot of hunting on the ground off out there, and it's just a little bit easier for her to be able to get into a kill situation, because she has killed some deer out there on that.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. Going through my notes here. Imagine that. So it's 2.5 acres. Is it like a rectangle, square?
Yeah,
What do we got?
yeah, it's more of a rectangle. Yeah, yeah, it runs like the north and south part of it runs longer than the east and west part of it, and it's almost like you got to think it's been farmed for years, so it's very like cut into like a farmer style field. Like I said, the very cool thing about it, it's just secluded, right? Like it's a really cool secluded spot where you kind of gotta drive a ways back there or walk a ways back there to get to it. But I it's been pretty cool to see that food plot established like that, because like you and I kind of talked, like I've never really messed with anything like that, and it is rewarding knowing that, say like this next fall rolls around, and the kids want to go hunting, or grandpa wants to go throw a hunt at it, like you're gonna see deer, you're gonna see wildlife. Like there's a lot of deer that use it. There's a lot of deer that just lay in it all day long. Like the turkeys that are in it, like that is fun to know that you are going to, you know, go out there and at least have some activity.
Yeah, absolutely. That was probably my favorite part of a food plot is for the kids and the
Mhm.
like the grandparents and that kind of stuff. Because you're gonna go out and you're gonna have a hunt. I mean, how many times have you gone out and it's nothing? You do a
Oh
mobile
yeah.
thing because you're going after one thing and you see nothing the entire
Mhm.
the entire night. Where you can go out in the food plot there, you go sit in the box blind and there may or may not be a little Debbie with you, and there may or may not be something to drink, and you're watching, you're sitting there and you're watching the deer come out, and then it's just a really fun thing. And it keeps the kids, it really gets the kids involved. I think it
Yeah.
really does. I mean, I
Yep.
know both my daughter's 6, and I can hardly get, if I'm going to a box blind, she's coming. There's no stopping
Mhm.
her from coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun, man. Watching those kids get all excited when those deer walk out in those food plots. Have you put up an exclusion fence by any chance?
No, man.
Do you
The
know it?
only thing I've done, Andy, is it's is legitimately just planted the thing. And I did
Okay.
mow it this spring once, and that was probably April-ish. I think I mowed it for the first time, and it needed it. It had got nice and tall, but it was so thick in there. Like, I didn't know. I was kind of worried, coming out of winter time. I didn't know like what maybe weeds may pop up in it. I did frost seed it back in March. Like, there was a time I think I from what I've learned about frost seeding, I think I timed up like the frost seeding perfectly where we lost a bunch of snow, and back there it still gets some shade on some sides because, like I said, it's surrounded 360 degrees by some sort of timber or swamp. And we lost all the snow, but when I went and frost seeded it, I could tell the ground was still hard. Ground was so hard. Frosty did it real well, and then like a couple days later, we got more snow on top of it, and I was like, "Oh, this should be pretty good." It should get sucked down into the ground once it all starts thawing out. And when I went back there to mow it this year, I was pleasantly surprised how thick it was and no weeds. Like, I
Awesome.
was like, "Man, it looks like I've been doing this for a decade." I think a lot
Yeah,
of
I know what I'm doing. I got this down.
I think a lot of it has to do with how, the farmer took care of it for, decades before that. But I haven't, other than, just planting that, frost seeding it, keeping it mowed, like that's all I've done to it, Andy.
So it's kind of, yeah, that's a I don't want to say poor man's food plot, but it's an easier food plot to take care of rather than. But I mean, a clover and chicory plot, that's my favorite plot out of all the
Hmm.
plots out there. I love a clover and chicory plot. It just seems to always do well. Deer love it. I mean, they absolutely love it. So what? How can you go wrong with it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I was kind of aiming for. Like like we talked about early on, like I've never messed around with anything habitat wise, and I'll be honest, just, up until recently, just acquiring that little piece of ground, I haven't had any like real interest to do that because I just all of my situations in Michigan, like none of those situations provided an opportunity like that to do anything. So I've never showed much interest in it. So when the opportunity kind of just not fell in my lap, but when that farmer was like, "Hey, I think I'm going to cut my losses on farming this 2.5 acre section right here. Have at it." It was like, okay, what can I do, and what can I do with very little work, and what's going to last a long time? Because I also didn't want to dump a bunch of money into it with never really, messing around with anything like that.
That makes sense. The fact that it's so secluded, it sounds like you've got like the dessert buffet of the area. If you're surrounded by corn and beans, and then you've got this nice little 2.5 acre, fully enclosed chicory and clover plot. I mean, you should be getting the king of the county over there. Hopefully, do you have any plans for any like timber stand improvement or anything in like the woods part of it?
No, so on the particular property, the acreage that I own, like there won't be any, select cut or logging or removing trees, anything. Like there's the majority of it's done in row crop, and what cover there is, it's underwater. Like
Oh, okay.
it is a true like Michigan swamp. Like if anyone's ever heard me talk about it on podcasts, not I haven't really dabbled into this exact swamp, but this is like the exact type of, the type of swamp that I'm attracted to in Michigan a lot of times.
Okay. Do you have plans to dabble in the swamp some?
Man, I don't. That's such a. I was wondering if you were going to ask me about it because it's a very like unique situation, and I don't know why. Like I thoroughly enjoy that my daughters and my grandfather get to hunt this spot, and it's not like I'm laying off of it to make it better hunting for them. There's just something about like it just hasn't like grabbed my attention yet to be able to hunt that style. And I'll tell you, Andy, a lot of it too is like I got some buddies that, I've shown them the pictures of, that food plot and stuff, and they're like, "Dude, if if you put a mock scrape out there, it'd be so awesome." And I agree with them, it would. But I'm still like, like out of all the bucks I've ever killed, I've never killed one off a field edge before. So it's still in my mind. Like it's hard for me to wrap around. Like, hey, like you might be able to kill a good deer off this food plot edge, where it's like it hasn't hit me with it yet. So I haven't I honestly haven't. I've just kind of I've let the kids hunt it how they want. I let my grandfather hunt it how he wants. If he wants to ride his side by side back there to his blind, have at it, Grandpa. Like it doesn't bother me one bit. Maybe one day though. Maybe one day that I'll maybe a deer will catch my attention sometime out there, and maybe that's just the case of it also, is that there just hasn't been an animal that I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that.
Well, hopefully like a 180 shows up out there then, and we get DJ into this full on, habitat guru, killing big bucks off his own land property. It's funny you say that, because like I'm almost in the opposite end of what you're just starting your habitat, and I'm not getting out of it by any means, but I'm laying off more of the hunting on my piece of property, because my kids are growing up and they're getting to that. I mean, I figure I have 1, 2, maybe 3 years at the max before I'm probably going to get kicked off my own land, because I'm going to have these 2 kids running around doing it. And I'm just going to be doing the habitat part of it, which is a lot of fun. I enjoy the heck out of doing that. I just went and mowed all my paths the other day, and farm's looking pristine, which is the first time in a long time it's looked pristine. But yeah, so that's cool. So the kids looking forward to this year hunting it?
Yeah, for sure.
Does your oldest daughter hunt too, or just your youngest?
She hasn't hunted in a couple years. Just social life and whatnot. She'll be a senior this year, so just her schedule, like, she's so busy right now. Getting ready for college, and her senior year in high school. And I offer to her every year, and she understands. If she ever wants to go, all she has to say, Dad, let's go, and we'll go. And that's the nice thing about that food plot, like in that area. At any given time, it's not like, oh my gosh, they want to go. What are we gonna do? Like, that's a spot that's always available for them to go to. But the one thing about her though, she will not miss a tracking job. Like, even if you got a busy night going on, if she's working or at dance or at school, she'll be like, don't track until I get home, even if it's at 10 o'clock at night. So she's all in on, for sure, not missing a track job. But my youngest, she'll hunt for sure. She's still kind of ate up with it. Her schedule isn't as busy as my oldest daughter's yet. So if she gets the opportunity to hunt, she wants to go, and she still has a few more years of the youth hunt before she can't do that anymore. So she's got full intentions of doing the youth hunt out there this year.
Okay, and they brought back what I think they brought it back, right? They took away the bucks, and then they brought the bucks back for this year. So
yeah, that's a whole different animal. The fact that they even took it away, to me, just wild. It's like they're freaking kids. Just let them go have at it. But
it's like 3% of the harvest or something like that. It's not like not like these kids are killing every one of our deer.
Yep. But yeah, so we're looking forward to that. That's that's kind of that early to mid September out there. It's a 2-day. It's usually like a Saturday, Sunday. We try to set it up, some kind of, westerly type wind's going to hopefully be in our favor. And we don't have any cameras or anything out there yet. We're waiting to see what's maybe around, but she's got a thing where she's killed a few bucks, and she likes to keep upping it to the next, and it doesn't have to be necessarily like, oh my gosh, she's so much bigger than the other one. She started off with a spike and then moved into like the 4-point and then the 6-point, so she keeps moving up. And I'll be honest, she missed one out there in late November last year in the struggle part. Like, it was gun season. She took her crossbow out there, and she missed what would have been her best deer that she ever would have shot. And she just gave it a haircut off the bottom of its belly, and she's looking for a little bit of redemption this year.
Hey guys, Al here, Vitalize Seed. I hope you all are doing well. So we got a lot of new things happening at Vitalize this year, and I wanted to highlight some of those. First off, we got a brand new website. We just added a chat feature to that website, so you can get your answers to your questions in real time or as fast as possible. Those actually come directly to us, so we can answer those questions, as well as has some auto answer features for those frequently asked questions. So trying to further increase the customer service that we offer. Number 2 is we are offering bundles now. So we got a lot of questions about people trying to piecemeal things together. So we took the guesswork out of it for you. You want a fertility bundle? Add that to your cart, and it gives you all of our natural fertility products in one place. We also are adding bulk pricing. So been asked about this in the past, and we've done some, kind of one-off things. But for those people who are buying, 5, 10, 15 acres, depending on the product, we're going to be offering some bulk pricing options for that. So right now we got that up on Nitro Boost. We also are going to have that up for the Clover, Chicory, and Oats offering, and might expand that to other offerings as well. Other things are new products. So we got our annual clover. That's a fantastic product for frost seeding, and also for this early spring, especially for those who still want to plant Nitro Boost. They want to get that annual clover established. You could go in and drill your Nitro Boost right through it, broadcast through it, mow it off, spray it off, etc. We got our premium clover plus. I'm using that on all my logging trails. That's a fantastic product. I'm also using that often with our clover, chicory, and oats mix. So I might use clover, chicory, oats in the first year on my logging trails like I did last fall. Let those oats come in, they'll die off, and then I can frost seed my premium clover and chicory over top of those trails now. So those are areas where I want a perennial crop growing. So I'm using that mix. And then we added our brassica mix as well. We of course have our seed feed and seed armor. Those are selling fantastic, and various other products, guys. So please check us out at vitalizeseed.com. We sure do appreciate you, and we're looking forward to a fantastic 2025.
Oh, her and I both. I did the same thing last year.
Yep.
So tell her, even old guys are doing the same thing.
Yep.
Any plans for you going to keep it in clover and chicory for a while? Is that kind of the plan?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna try to keep that. I'm gonna try to keep it in what it's at, as long as it keeps looking good, or as long as the wildlife keeps using it. That's something I don't really know a lot about. I from what I understand, if I take care of it properly, I should be able to get maybe 4 or 5 years out of it. Is that what you found?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah,
If I keep 4 or 5 years out of it, I'd be happy. It'd be a pretty good investment for sure.
heck yeah. Well, that's cool, man. There's just something about owning land too.
Yeah.
It's just is this your first piece of property other than your house?
Yeah, no, outside my house, and unfortunately this piece isn't where I live, so we do have to travel to it, which, that's a love-hate relationship part of it. It'd be cool to be able to go out the backyard and maybe go hunt it, but also then maybe we'd be out there on it too much. I don't know, that's the one thing, like I don't know, it's when I think about a food plot and hunting it like that, and like a small piece, and I don't know. It's not that it feels like restricted to me, but it just has like a little bit different feeling of not being able to just go, right. Like it almost has a feeling like I can't take it to them kind of game, But I think that's gonna change, because like the one thing that I could say like could be a possibility is we talked about, like, schedules being easy, where like there's times where in life where it's like, hey, you have 2 hours, and maybe 2 hours out there in that food plot could be better than 2 hours sitting at home, possibly, right? Like
Yep.
maybe your
You
opportunity
can't kill them
comes
from the
there.
couch.
Yep.
You can't kill them from the couch.
I think for me, Andy, a lot of it's going to be is I'm going to have to see to believe, to really, like, want to get after it on that food plot. Maybe get some good deer on camera, or maybe see, maybe my daughter kills a good one off of there. But my daughter missed that one last year. My grandpa killed 2 off of it last year. So I mean, it's
Awesome.
producing deer. There's no question about it.
How's the area around? Is the area around is pretty much all ag? Is that? I mean, you kind of like.
Yeah. It's a good mix of ag and swamp ground. There's a lot of swamp ground where I come from. It's a lot of the swamp ground meets ag. It's not uncommon for, say during fall harvest time, to see the farmers not be able to get this little low spot in the field because of how wet it is, if it's tight to the swamps. But there is some hardwoods mixed in there. the hardwoods can be like hit or miss with how thick like the understory is, just dependent on like what that property owner is doing, but it's the one thing though about down here is, when I say down here, down in southern Michigan, it gets hunted heavily, Andy. Like there's a lot of there's a lot of hunters, and all of this ground is broke up into pretty small tracts of land, so that, even though I wanted something like with that clover and chicory, I wanted something that wasn't going to cost me an arm and a leg and was going to be easy for me to, probably, get my feet wet with and last a long time. I also understand that I'm probably not the only guy in the couple square miles around there that has that exact same thing. Mine may be a little bit bigger than everyone else's. Like, from what I understand, that's a pretty decent size, but like it's not really any different. Probably in my mind, someone else has got probably the same damn thing around there.
Okay, you just got to be a little nicer. That's all. But you've got, so it sounds like you've got the cover though, for the security cover. I mean, that's, you can have like, well, you can see back. Here's mine here. I mean, you talk about, being able to. Well, my house is here, and one of my blinds is right there, and here's the valley where we hunt. So it's kind of, I overhunt my property. I know for a fact I overhunt my property.
Yep.
But it's too hard to not go out there when it's right back, when it's right not off your thing. I think if I had more of your situation where I had to drive there, I may lay off it a little more. But yeah, it's but I don't have the cover. It was all ag forever. I'm finally starting to get cover, and I'm finally starting to get more deer to actually live here rather than just travel through here.
Yep.
So cover's key. Cover's key.
I can see how guys can get, they can get just knee deep in the habitat stuff if they have the land to do it, where, like I said, like, man, even, all of my permission properties that I hunt here in Michigan, like there's none of that stuff going on. Like, all there is multiple guys hunting it, and you just got to figure out how to kill a deer that way. Nobody's out there planting food plots or trying to, make the land better because it's got 10 other guys on it, so this is very new to me, but it has been rewarding to see. I mean, seeing my daughter, have an opportunity on that plot last year, my grandpa killing 2 bucks off of it last year, that was awesome. But just seeing it grow, like when I went out there this spring, like I said, in the spring of 25, like I was like, holy shit, like look at this. Like, I had to show my wife. Yeah, I had to show my wife because she helped me, plant the whole thing out there, and she's like, holy shit, look at all that. I was like, yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at this, honey. I don't know what to tell you. I got a green thumb.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations on your anniversary, by the way. 18 years. That's very commendable, man. Very cool.
Thank you. I appreciate
Today's day and age, that don't happen much anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't, does it, man?
Especially dude, it's nuts.
Yeah, not to get into like this super long story, but like we met back when we were kids and back in school, so we've been together ever since then. So it like those stories don't happen often, but no, she had a good time out there with me. Honestly, what happened is she went out there to kind of ride along in the side by side to help, and then sooner or later I had to get off the side by side. I can't remember if I had to get off to chuck a rock or whatever it was. And then she just kind of hopped over in the driver's seat, and I was still standing out there in the field, and off she went. And I was like, oh, have at it. So I'll be honest, Andy, she takes a lot of credit for how that food plot looks now, because she was the one that ran the spreader. She was the one that ran the cultivator. So, I love it. She takes credit to it. But I've been trying to get her out there to shoot a deer on it, so she likes to go out there, but she likes to watch the kids just hunt instead.
Okay. That's my wife is the exact same way. She could care less about ever pulling the trigger, but man, does she want to go? Man, does she want to help? And man, does she want to cut up the deer? So I got it perfect. She's upstairs. Hope she doesn't hear me. But, but yeah, I got a good deal there. But yeah, that's so cool. Have you and her? Do you ever go out with her and sit in the box blind and just kind of chill out and see what's going on?
No, not really, man. It's it maybe that day will come now that we have a food plot like this, because like I said, I've never had this kind of situation before, and even like I said, we have owned that property for a few years, and I just kind of let the farmer do his thing and do whatever, and I just kind of always kept it in my back pocket, where I've never like getting a blind and stuff like that was all pretty new to me, man. I've never that's never been part of my MO, honestly.
That's cool. That's how I grew up. So it's second nature to me. I grew up in your
Mm-hmm.
typical Michigan rifle hunting family. So
Yep.
I've always
Yep.
been the box blind and used to be the bait pile, but now it's the food plot. And I'll tell you what, it's a really good date night. That's why
There you
I
go.
was asking. It's a really good date night. Anytime during it's November and my wife wants to go out front and date, she knows where we're going. We're going to go to the deer blind.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But yeah,
I tell you what, the food plot for me, honestly, outside of kind of what we already talked about, the benefits of for my daughters and my grandfather, is the one thing that I have thought about that I like to like have in my back pocket is I feel like at any given time, if I need to go fill a doe tag or take some does out of that piece of out of that area, like it can be done. It should be able to be done on any given night out there. Like I think that is a real possibility, and I like the thought of that.
yeah, it's kind of like having one in the bank.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. I just I keep running back to that it's enclosed, man. Nobody has enclosed food plots like that. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got everything you're asking for right there. You've got the cover, you've got the bedding, and then you've got the food right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All you need now is the secret recipe of the buck and the rut.
Yeah, it's a very unique situation, because like when with it being enclosed like that, I have noticed, like, when the farmer was planting it, like, his crops are on the edge, depending on how much, how many branches were hanging over. Sometimes it may struggle, I think. And it seemed to be, I don't know if it's just from the wildlife, trampling and eating so much off the edges like that. But I also see, like, the middle of it's pure sun where the edges have a lot of shade to it, but the clover's done really well around the edges and naturally, like, the one thing I will say is like this last year having that clover in there, I ran cameras in there and didn't really have anything real like big on there, but like the amount of scrapes that kind of popped up around those edges really like it really exploded this last year.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's move into your grandpa's hunts this year. Were you involved in any of them, or was he by himself? How did it all go down?
Yep. So grandpa goes out by himself. So he doesn't archery hunt anymore. So he just gun hunts now. And I don't think he's ever missed an opening day of gun season since he was a kid. And he's in his early 80s now. So he's had a lot of good opening days. And listen, the one thing about Grandpa Wayne is when opening day hits, he hunts from sunup to sundown until his tags are filled. That is what he does. And I think he killed man, what was it? The was it right off the bat opening day or the second day? And then I know his second buck, he killed a 9 point. I just did a European mount on him a couple weeks ago. He had to kill him around November 22nd, 23rd, 24th ish. Because I remember I just got home from an out of state trip and we were in a grocery store and I seen that phone ring and it wasn't dark. I was like, oh shit, we're going tracking tonight. And so, even if we're not out there hunting with him, because he hunts by himself still, that we go out there on the track jobs for him. And, it was, I put the kids right on the track job and he loves to watch the girls, track those deer down and recover them. And growing up, Grandpa's got, when I grew up, Grandpa cleaned a lot of my deer for me, taught me how to, gut deer, all of that stuff. For now, he gets to literally sit back, hunt, squeeze on the trigger, and outside of that, like he doesn't have to. He just gets to enjoy the rest of it. Where we take care of everything else for him nowadays. So yeah, he killed two bucks, one smaller buck and one about a 2.5-year-old 9 point he killed out there.
Oh, nice. Okay, nice.
Yep.
Congratulations, Grandpa Wayne.
Oh yeah.
Is he looking forward to this year now? Asking about how the food plot's doing, or does he go check it out?
What's that?
Is he close to the
He,
property?
he's somewhat close, but he'll every once in a while he'll maybe buzz over there or take his side by side and go check it out, But he actually was telling me the other day, Andy, that he's got a little problem going on with his hand. And he said, yeah, they tried to give me a doctor appointment on November 14th. And he says, I'll go to that doctor appointment because it takes forever to get in. But he's like, they're not doing anything about it that day because I got plans the next day. And I said, I just shook my head. My grandma's just so thrilled with how he treats opening day of gun season. But you're not like the last year he had to have a knee replacement done, and it pretty much was revolved around like, well, when's deer season? Okay, then I can get my knee redone.
Oh, that's too cool. That's so backing up then, did you start out as a rifle hunter with grandpa then? Or have
So
you
yeah, so growing up, I grew up as a bow hunter, but down in where we're from in Michigan, it's actually a shotgun zone down
shotgun? Yeah.
here. So yeah, it's not rifle hunting, it's shotgun hunting. But it was, I had to be 12 to bow hunt, and I had to be 14 to gun hunt. So naturally, bow hunting came, a couple of years before gun season would for me. So by the time I could gun hunt, I'd already killed a few deer with my archery equipment, but it like I as soon as I turned 12 that year, it was over with. Like I was bow hunting. I had spent so much time in the woods with my grandfather, my uncle beforehand, that when I turned 12, they just let me loose, and I knew where I was going. I knew what stands I kind of had my own stand, and I looking back, I knew what they were doing. They put me in a stand that I was kind of the first stand, the closest stand in the woods. And so, like, as they would be hunting, they would kind of drop me off at my stand, and we'd all walk back there, and then I just kind of wait for them at dark. We would meet at one spot in the woods, and that's kind of how we grew up. So I grew up bow hunting and gun hunting, and I kind of just put the gun down back in about 2011. I kind of hung it up and just started exclusively archery hunting. I have nothing against gun hunting at all. I mean, I still every year I think about like, oh, I wonder if I'll gun hunt this year, and I just kind of never
Yeah.
happens. But that's how I grew up, man. I grew up, hunting along grandpa.
Okay, that's great, man. There's nothing better than that, getting out with the family and
Hmm.
doing that kind of stuff. What are your plans for this year, man? What do you got going on?
Yeah, so right now it's in the July, and I kind of been pushing off the cameras. Each year I seem to put start deploying the trail cameras a little bit later and later, and I haven't had like that big desire to get the cameras out just yet. I'm kind of watching, watching some of the bucks around, and I drive a lot for work, so I have a really good gauge of kind of where the antler growth is right now. They're doing well. They're just not like there yet for me to be like, okay, let's go see who's around. And the freaking batteries are so expensive that I want to be able to, like, when I load that camera up with batteries and I put it out, it needs to be able to last all the way to January 1 for me. And after that, whatever happens happens, but I don't want to have to change them at all. So, getting ready to do the camera thing. I've been out driving a few times. There there's some good deer around so far. Nothing like jaw dropping. It. Nothing to be like send all the buddies. Hey, look what we have here. Nothing like that still. So we're gonna do the youth hunt with my daughter in September. I don't have any whitetail plans for September this year. I went to Nebraska last year, but I do have two out of state trips planned for this fall, and then Michigan alongside of it. So I'll have 4 buck tags in my pocket again.
Okay, okay. Are you doing like rut hunts, or what's your plan for going out of state?
Yeah, yep. I'm gonna do an October and a late October hunt, and then I'm gonna do a mid to late November hunt this year is what I'm going to put my focus on, and just see what happens, man. Last year I was very blessed with a good year, and we're gonna give her hell trying to maybe repeat that same thing, maybe do even better. We'll see. Either way, like I don't have a problem, say with not filling my tags this year, coming off such a great year. I just, as long as I know that I put my effort into it, that's where the problem would lie for me, and is knowing that did I leave everything on the table? That's what I care about.
Okay, okay. I love it. I love it. Home. You got your stuff here. You've got your food plot for the kids. You got your trips planned. Sounds like your DJ's ready. He can enjoy the rest of the summer now.
Hey, I'll be enjoying summer. You can bet your ass I'll be enjoying summer. But honestly, uh, the May and June are a little bit of a layoff month for me. And not that I completely cut away from deer work, but it seems to be if I look at a full 12-month calendar year, May and June are probably the 2 months that I seem to be in the timber or the swamps or in the fields. The least. Those are those 2 months. The real, like when August kicks in. Like I always feel like I always find out who I am in August, how bad like I really want it because August can be Dude, August can be brutal, and I don't even want to say it because I feel like I'm gonna make it worse. But I have a pretty big worry about how bad these mosquitoes are gonna be this next month. Like I've already kind of started prepping all the trail camera stuff, all the scouting stuff, and you can bet there's two mosquito nets, head nets in there because I've played the game before. I know what this kind of a summer like this looks like. Hot temperatures, humid, the perfect amount of rain. The swamp levels will be high. Like
Yep.
hey, maybe the food plot will be the enjoyable trail camera location this year because I won't have to go through all that shit.
Oh yeah, man. Ticks. I don't know about you, but ticks have been, at least down there. Ticks have been terrible up here this year. I mean, the worst I've ever seen them for getting on the dogs and getting on even the kids. I mean, we've pulled a couple off my daughter, pulled a couple off my son. I pulled some off me. I've never had a tick on me until this year, so
Mm.
it's got me a little bit nervous
Yeah.
of
So
that.
the ticks haven't been bad down here by me at all.
Okay.
Like they aren't an issue, but I do know with my job, like I'll cover anywhere in Michigan at any given week, and I know like if we are say north, not to give away too many locations, but say if we travel north of US 10 this year. US 10, runs east and west
Yep.
across Michigan. If we travel north there, like our employee or employer has sent out emails about like, hey, you need to be, using tick preventive stuff. Like they know
Yep.
and that's just, on the side of the road type work. So it's bad this year. I got a buddy over on the west side of Michigan, but way like southwest Michigan, and he's like, dude, they are horrendous over there.
Really? Huh? Well, hopefully we get I hate not to say that I want a cold winter, but hopefully we get a cold winter this winter and take care of some of that stuff.
Yeah, no
Oh
shit, man.
man. Well, I got one more thing here. I got Jared's rapid fire questions presented by Latitude. So I got to hit you with these real quick.
Okay.
All right. Number one, favorite beverage.
Mm. Well, I mean, this is summertime right now. We're going ice cold beer out of a bottle today. Like that's
Yeah,
what we're gonna
buddy.
hit it with.
If I should, hopefully a shandy, because I'll tell you what, that's my favorite this time of year.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay. So speaking of Shandy, I think Shandy's one of the best rated
yep.
summer beers, period. But I don't know if you've tried it, but like, dude, the grapefruit Shandy is a solid option. Like I've kind of
Really?
been yes, like you
All
gotta be a
right.
grapefruit fan, right? Like you gotta
Which I
like that
am.
flavor. I've
Okay.
actually like right now, if you put both in front of me, I'm taking the grapefruit every day right now.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna now I have to stop the store tonight.
Yep.
Uh,
Go get a 6 pack of them.
what is your favorite venison wild game recipe? Like, how would you prepare your venison?
Yep. So I love you know a good cut of meat, venison. You take a back strap or whatever. I love to like say flay it open, put some jalapeno in there, cream cheese, wrap the thing in bacon. I'm a medium rare, you like just regular beefsteak guy. So on venison, like 105, 110 degrees internal temperature,
Oh,
that's me all day. And say if we're not, doing the jalapeno and cream cheese and wrapped in bacon, I love a reverse seared venison backstrap, like from the smoker to a cast iron pan on the grill.
okay. So I'll give you a hot take, or not hot take. I'll give you what I do. I do the same
Okay.
thing, the bacon wrapped but I soak it in Italian dressing for
Mm,
24 hours. And that Italian dressing just gives it this little, it doesn't give it a flavor, it just gives it a little
mhm.
kick to it. It is really, really good.
Okay.
Really good.
Have,
So that's something to try.
have you ever soaked venison in brown sugar before?
I have not, no.
Okay. If you don't like real sweet stuff, it won't be for you. But when you take say chunk of venison steak and you sprinkle it all with brown sugar. That brown sugar like caramelizes. That's a
Okay.
another solid option right there.
All right, man, you're making me hungry now. What's your bow setup like this year? What are you shooting?
Yeah, so I'm still shooting the Matthews Lift. It's the same bow I shot last year. I shoot the Lift 33. I shoot 70 pounds, 28.5-inch draw. My arrows, I shoot oh my gosh, right here. They're the Victory Rip TKOs. They come in right about 435 grains. That's total weight. I shoot a G5 Mega Meat on the front end of that. I've had tremendous success with those, like the devastation from those. And listen, they ain't paying me either to say it. Like I buy the broadheads myself. They're the real deal. I'll tell you that. And I run a dialed sight off of it. I only run I like simplicity when it comes to archery. I just run a front stabilizer. I've toyed with the back bars on them. I'll throw one on here and there to mess with it. But I love being able to just carry just that bow, a very simple bow, kind of fail-proof bow, lightweight. When I'm out in the swamp and timber, like I love like just having very bare minimum with me.
I love it. I love it. Food, water, or cover?
Oh, cover all day.
Cover, yeah,
cover
baby. I love it.
Yeah.
Cover. If you'd asked me that a few years ago, I would have said food for sure every day. Yep. But cover for sure, absolutely. Yep. What? It's kind of. Well, we'll just ask anyway. Favorite habitat tool, side by side.
Yeah, no. Let's go this. I won't pick that. My favorite habitat tool is a buddy that's a farmer. That's my favorite.
Hey, that's the best one. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, yes. All right, and then the last one, favorite tree, either to hunt out of or you just enjoy it.
To like hunt, like be set up
anything in? Yeah, any tree to set up in, or if you just a tree you like to look at or whatever.
Oh man, I love to be set up. Like a lot of these swamps have like these little swamp oaks, these pin oaks in them. They're not the biggest trees in the world, but I love to hunt out of them, and I also see some of the best community scrapes in and around those pin oak trees on the edges of the swamps. Like those are phenomenal.
All right. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your day today. It's always good to catch up with you. If anybody wants to follow along with you, where can they find you? I know you've got the podcast, so let's shoot it all out right now.
Yeah. Well, first off, Andy, I appreciate you having me on. And for all the listeners that tune into the Habitat podcast, they're probably like, man, why the hell do you have this guy on? He's not all he's got is a clover plot. But I think it's a cool story, right? Because everyone starts from somewhere. And it doesn't. The cool thing about hunting is it doesn't have to be one way or no way. Like it can be very well rounded. Where like me dabbling in with this food plot for say like my daughters, my grandfather, it's just showing me that there's other ways for people to be able to enjoy the woods and kill deer also. So I greatly appreciate you having me on in an area that I'm very not a lot of knowledge in for sure. But if anyone wants to follow along with what I do, you can find me on Instagram at D Riley Jr. That's my personal page. And then I also host the Latitudes the Method podcast, which drops every other Wednesday. And you can find that on Instagram or Apple or Spotify, wherever anyone listens to their podcast at. You can find Method podcasts anywhere you find them.
Absolutely. Give that a like, guys. It is a great podcast. Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And look forward to seeing how your fall does.
All right, Andy, I appreciate it. And good luck this fall, buddy.
Thank you for tuning in to the Habitat podcast. We really do appreciate you guys coming back every week to get this awesome Habitat content. And we would appreciate it if you went to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to this podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us continue to grow and trend in the right direction, attract new listeners, and help us provide better content in the future. Guys, we have a website full of resources. We have a blog on the website. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all linked up at habitatpodcast.com. Our land plan services, merchandise, decals, hats, t-shirts, and I give away a free 5-inch decal to anyone who leaves us a review on Apple iTunes. Really appreciate it. I want to thank our partners, Downburst Cedars, Vitalize Seed Company, Morse Nursery, Packer Max Cultipackers, Stealth Outdoors, First Light Latitude Outdoors, United Country Midwest Lifestyle Properties. Thanks again, guys. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Habitat Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.